Okay, you're buying a unit, you're buying a house, you're told you need to get a building inspection. Is it overrated? Is it essential? Stay tuned. We're going to talk about it today.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Alex Muris, sales extraordinaire in Northern Beaches. How are you today?
Good, Mark. Good. Monday morning, nice and fresh. Bit chilly out there today, but put the jacket on and we're good to go.
Yeah, it's like 9 degrees this morning. I saw it's unbelievable.
And
Winter's coming.
definitely.
It's the
here,
first day of
June.
winter.
Yeah.
Happy
Wow.
winter, everyone.
Happy winter. How exciting.
Happy winter. Now, Alex, tell us everything you know about building inspections. So buyers purchasing, they're buying a unit, they're buying a house, they're buying brand new. What is a building inspection apart from the obvious?
Yeah, so I mean, a building inspection is generally, in most cases, the buyers will pay someone, a building inspector, to come in and inspect the building. Houses is a little bit more necessary, I would feel. It's someone who comes in, checks in the roofs for leaks, checks the foundations of the house to make sure there's no cracking in the framework, no bricks are falling apart, just to do your basic checks over the property to ensure you're buying a good asset or a good home. They also do come into cases on strated titles and apartments, which we will get into later. Is it worth it on that side, or is it just more or less go through the strata report for the property? But they pretty well check over your asset, check over your home, make sure everything's safe and sound and ready to go.
And these are done in writing, so they're a 50-page report with lots of pretty photos?
Yeah. So the reports come in, they are quite extensive. I think it depends on the company and the person you get in to do it. But all of the cases that I've seen, and majority of them, do go over absolutely everything, because at the end of the day, they have to cover themselves. If anything were to go wrong and they didn't have it in the report, then they would be liable.
And what's the cost of a building inspection?
I think it varies. It definitely varies on the property and where you get it from. It could be anywhere from $1,000 to $2,500, depending on the property and the inspector. But generally, it's a few $1,000s investment.
And then there's companies like Before You Buy, where a vendor can actually buy an inspection, and then that can be shared multiple times with multiple purchasers. And I think that's a huge advantage, because it's a lower barrier of entry for purchasers, because they're more like $100 or $200, and then they, if they're successful, then they're actually paying that sort of whole amount.
Yeah, that's a good tool for vendors to use as well, and it gives buyers a little bit more confidence. I mean, they're going into a property, if there's already a report done by the vendor that's available to be purchased, it gives them confidence that the vendors aren't hiding anything, and they're happy just to share everything, and the house or unit is good to go.
Now, this goes wrong, guys. We get these, there's I guess building inspections can be referred to you by your solicitor, by your conveyancer, by your real estate agent. I find that sometimes these building inspectors are bloody awesome, very efficient. What I find interesting with strata is a building inspector that, and look, I'm sure there's an equal and opposite argument to this one, but with strata, they're only actually, say it's a block of 12, they're only going through one unit, and they're not going through 12 units, and they're giving a report on the whole building. So sometimes I find people don't actually spend money on getting a building and pest inspector on a strata, because they can't get through every lot.
Yeah. And a different case that I thought I'd bring up as well, we are selling those new Havana units down on Oaks Avenue here in DY. The last two that I've sold, the purchasers have organised to have building inspections done on the unit, which personally I thought was a little bit odd. Brand new units, brand new apartments, and no one had ever lived in there before, and they're having an inspection done. I think on these two cases it was recommended from the solicitor. But Mark, you've been in it 30 years. Is this a common occurrence to you, or I just thought it was a bit strange personally?
Do you know what? With new, there's just been so much controversy around it. I think as a lawyer, to make sure you're covering your ass, you're going to recommend it to your client because your client's going to pay, and then you've actually got rid of that responsibility of not recommending it potentially. So I think there's these days everyone's covering their bums more than ever. So that's why I think we're seeing it with units. But look, I've been an agent for over 30 years and a good part of 25 years. People never got them. They never got them on units. So like, look, it's a unit.
Yeah, and 9 times out of 10, when you're purchasing off the unit, you will get a strata report done anyway, which does go over the whole building. Your strata report will tell you the health of the whole building, if there's any kind of special levies or works coming up for your lot. And a lot of buyers will pretty well just keep that in their back pocket and use it as their safety net for purchasing a unit.
Yep.
But on the flip side, houses, I definitely think it is worth it. I definitely think it is essential, especially if you're buying an older property or an older house that's 20, 30 plus years old. You need to make sure that your foundations of the property that you're buying are good.
So we've established what a building inspection is and what they're getting it for, how much it actually costs. Where have you seen these go wrong? Like, where have you seen a report, a building inspector gone bad, where you've gone, oh my God, this is ridiculous?
I mean, yeah, in some cases, especially if it's an older style property, and as we said before, they are very extensive and they go over absolutely everything. So in some cases, if you're buying a property that's 30, 40 years old, you are going to have some little hairline cracks and maybe some minor issues within the property. Some of them can be detrimental. Majority of the cases they're not, but because they have to be so extensive in their report and go over everything, sometimes it can spook the buyer, or when it goes back to the solicitors to go over it, it'll spook the solicitors, and then it just creates more speed humps to cross over to get a deal over the line. And in some cases, yeah, they could be too extensive, and some minor things can turn into major things in the purchasing process.
And I think in the defense of a building inspector, they would rather report it and then you decide whether it's big or little, rather than if it's something that was just so academic, so stupid, and why would I put that in my report? They figure like, let me put it in my report anyway, and you can decide if it's so small and so stupid as a consumer. But I often find that they're so damning sometimes, these reports, that it then gets referred. The buyer goes, well, I don't know, what am I meant to do? Is this normal? And they go back to their solicitor, have a conversation, and the buyer comes back and says, yeah, no, it's fine, I'll still buy the property. They actually don't know how serious to treat that report. But I think, again, in such a compliant world these days, as a building inspector, you're going to just put every single thing in there. Like, I just had one done I was going through last Thursday. It was a factory in French's Forest, and it was one of the doors wasn't closing properly, and there was some paint work on a balustrade that was sort of bubbling. And then there's a product called Dinsel, which it's basically like plastic, and you put reinforcement rods down it, and then you put concrete down in the middle of it, and then it hardens. So Dinsel, the product, is actually not the structure effectively that's holding the wall up, because it's just plastic, but it actually, during construction, it guides the steel and the concrete to stay in position. And it was, people expected that Dinsel wall was to be painted, beautifully finished, not in perfect form. And sometimes concrete blows out because it's concrete. So those imperfections were brought up by the building inspector, and then the purchaser's like, that's got to be fixed. And then the developer's like having a bit of a laugh, going, mate, it's an industrial commercial property. That's Dinsel. That's, it's not it's never meant to be a perfect finish like a gyprock wall with paint and sleek. Do you know what I mean? So I guess there's a little bit of push and pull with building inspections is my point. And it also depends on the type of property it is, whether it's a 40-year-old property, a brand new property, a commercial property, a residential property. You sort of got to read the play.
Yeah, 100%. And I think in whatever case it is, whether it's industrial or a house or a unit, I think at the end of the day, to go over our essential or overrated, personally, I think it is essential for buying something. I mean, majority of the cases you're buying something around on the northern beaches, it's over $1 million or just under. So it's a lot of money for someone to outlay. You want to have that safety net and that reassurance that what you're buying is a good product.
And you may, in strata, if you did get it done in strata, you may even do the strata inspection first, which is like checking the books of the building, and then give that the things that are of concern in the strata, to give that to your builder and say, can you have a look at this item and that item and that item? Say there was some water leaking somewhere, you go, mate, to the builder, can you have a look at that whilst you're there? Guiding them into what to look for as well, so you can make a better decision.
Yeah, and those strata reports, especially if we generally get them done, they're only $49 for the purchaser to buy at the start. And then if they're a successful purchaser of the property, then they end up paying for the full report, which is about $290. But it's a very small investment and a very small outlay at the start just to have that bit of reassurance for them. And yeah, I think it's the perfect situation. If you're able to give that to the building inspector, give them a little bit extra to look at, I think it's a great idea.
Anything else we want to add before we go on building inspections?
I think we pretty well touched base on everything. I think we came to do you think they're essential? Do you think they're overrated, Mark? What's your viewpoint on them?
I think in this compliant world, get them. But if you know personally a good friend that's a builder, almost just as good, and save the money if you've got, except you can't sue your friend if something goes wrong. I think if you've got a buddy in building, they're going to give you some good guidance as well as a building inspector. But termites for a house, I think stuff like that you can. You've got to get a building inspection. I'd say for sure on a house, and on a strata, I'm probably 50-50.
I agree. Couldn't agree more.
Mr. Muris, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's great. It's my debut on Morning Minutes.
It's the first time.
First time this morning.
Very good virginity on it, mate. Jesus. And this is
Yeah.
we've done 1,672 episodes of this show. Far out. And also starting winter, I think is a big one. Like, happy winter. Everyone's the first day, and cold.
Happy winter. It's nearly a turning point in the property market. I mean, generally when you go through winter, things start to slow down a little bit, but we'll see how we go.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. Have a great day. Thanks, mate.
Thanks.
Cheers. Bye.